Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to extend a warm welcome to each of you as we gather here today to delve into a topic of increasing relevance and significance in the realm of business operation and enterprise resource planning. Intercompany integration in the context of multiple SAP databases. In an era where organizations are expanding their global footprint, mergers and acquisitions are commonplace, and supply chain complexities are on the rise. Companies have been facing the challenge of managing multiple SAP databases spread across various business units, geographies, and subsidiaries. The intricacies and inefficiencies that can arise from these situations are numerous, impacting critical processes such as procurement, financial management, and reporting. Today, we have come together to explore a compelling question. Why are companies running multiple SAP databases turning to intercompany integration? This question cuts to the heart of a strategic imperative that many organizations are grappling with as they seek ways to streamline their operations, drive efficiencies, and remain competitive in an ever-evolving business landscape. Over the course of our meeting, we will unravel the key drivers behind the shift towards intercompany integration, examine the benefits and challenges associated with this approach, and speak with Martin Williams from Codeless platform to gain valuable insight and actionable strategies that can help our organizations harness the power of intercompany integration to not only optimize SAP database management, but also drive innovation and growth. So without further ado, let us embark on this journey of discovery and collaboration. We encourage you all to ask questions and share your experiences. Customer insight often drives new initiatives and improved ways of using this type of technology. Thank you for your presence and participation. Let's make this meeting a productive and enlightening experience for all. Martin, over to you.
Wonderful, thanks Ian. So morning everyone, hope you're all well. Just before you jumped on the call, just so I'm based in the UK down the south coast. We had these sort of crazy weather warnings this morning, so we've been discussing about cars being swept into the sea and all sorts, but at the moment it's nice and calm here, so we should be fine for our presentation. Just to say, obviously all the slides we're showing you, I think the G3G guys are recording this session anyway. I'm sure you can have copies of that session, but equally anything I show you, anything I share with you, more than happy to share via email and calls and meetings afterwards as well. Okay, so just to recap, my name's Martin Williams. I'm part of the sales and accounts team here at Codeless, and I manage our SAP business channel. Okay, so let's start off looking at my screen now. Codeless platforms and who are we? So established in 1999, so over 20 years of experience. As a business, we now trade as a company called Codeless Platforms. Previously, we were trading as Orbis Software, and that's now our parent company name. Also, we've been through a couple of name change with regards to the platform itself. Previously, we were called Task Center. The platform is now called BPA Platform. We mention that because certainly within the SAP world, those brand names are still quite well known. In case you hear of Orbis and you hear of Task Center, just so you're aware, it's one of the same company, one of the same platform that's just grown and developed over the years. Okay. As I said a moment ago, as a business, we're based in Poole, it's in Dorset, which is in the UK, on the south coast. If you know the UK, we're about 2 hours south of London, and we provide, we're global providers of business process automation. So anything integration, anything automation is what you can use our platform for. And to give you an idea of our size, we're about 8,500 end customers, and we manage all those customers via a network of partners. We call those BPA partners. Obviously, G3G are one of those key partners for us in Africa. And so we manage the software via the partner network out to our customers. So the partner will be in charge of implementation, managing the software and the solution with the customer, and then the ongoing support as well. Okay. Right, so the platform. So what does it offer? So like I said a moment ago, so we provide integration and automation. We talk about the platform being agnostic because it can connect into many different systems. So within reason, whatever systems you're using around your business, you can use the BPA platform as that middleware layer within your business to connect into different systems to move and manage that data back and forth. So we've been a long-term partner of SAP for a number of years now. I think we became an ISV, so independent software vendor, 2011. So we can connect into and manage integrations with cloud and on-prem. We support both SAP HANA and SAP SQL databases. And then there's those second or the third and fourth blue bullet there. we obviously work with SAP B1 and SAP Concur. Okay, so just to cover off on the SAP B1 side, so whatever flavor of SAP B1 you're using now or you're using in the future, our SAP certified toolkit gives you all the connectivity you need to push data into, take data out of SAP. So just to cover that off, so obviously the most recent version 10 of SAP, I think back to version 8.8. I'm sure you guys aren't on older versions like that, but just in case you have maybe some smaller businesses with older versions, our toolkit was going to give you all the things you need. So we also provide a list of templated tasks, so pre-built integrations. I can touch on what that is in a moment. And obviously one of those integrations is an intercompany integration, which is this sort of theme of this webinar and this talk as well. Okay, so looking at the platform with a step back, it's good to understand, even though we're here to talk about intercompany, it's good to understand, I think, what else the BPA platform can give you. It's good to sweat your assets. It's good to get lots of value from the money you spend on software. So let's say the grey wheel on my slide is one of your companies, and around the wheel, the different departments you may have around your business. Okay, inside that wheel is the BPA platform. So we provide the BPA software via the BPA partner. The BPA partner can host it for you, or you can host it yourselves. That can be a server on-premise or a server in the cloud. So lots of flexibility about how and where BPA is hosted, which is good. And then back to my slide, outside that grey wheel, you'll see a selection of brands across those different areas. Just to say, so whatever systems you're using around your business, within reason, again, you can use the BPA platform to manage those integrations. Often we'll see an end customer and they might be using, let's say, 4 different integration companies for 4 different applications that they're using. We sort of say, well, rather than pay those 4 lots of software, again, sweat your asset, get as much value as you can from one of those, ideally one of those being the BPA platform. So BPA can manage orders coming in from Shopify. It can manage subscriptions and emails coming in from maybe HubSpot. It can manage customer data going out to or coming in from Salesforce. So again, any number of integrations and automations around your business across your different departments can all be managed from that one central place, being the BPA platform. And again, which the G3G guys are one of our key partners and know the platform very well. Okay. Right, so looking at templates. So we call them starting points. We provide pre-built templates. So it's a pre-built template of tasks for a number of integrations. And there's some examples on my page here. The idea of a template is it's a starting point. It's a foundation for G3G and obviously you as the customer to take those tasks and work those into your business. Maybe our pre-built template doesn't need much changing, doesn't need much customization, therefore the implementation times are less, but it gives the ability to G3G and again you guys the customer to have a starting point from any number of integrations. Okay, and obviously one of those templates is our intercompany integration, again, which is the theme of today. So what's intercompany? Okay, so we're seeing more and more now groups of companies setting up. Those groups of companies. So let's say you're a head office, your company number 2 is a buying company, your company number 3 is a selling company, as an example. There's a need now to move and manage the data, as there always has been, of course, between those companies. So when you're buying something from company number 1, it's being reported in company number 2, or it's being reported in the right way within HQ. Okay, so it's the ability to manage that data across that group of companies to save you guys. In theory, it will fundamentally to save you time. Either you sit at your desk, you log into SAP B1, and you key in a new supplier code or a new business partner. Without the integration, you would then sit and do the same into company number 2 and company number 3. The idea of intercompany trading and the intercompany tasks on the BPA platform is to save you that time, is to move that data back and forth between those different companies as and when you're going about your normal day. So when you raise a PO, as an example, in your buying company, BPA is going to replicate that and raise the relevant document within the selling company, as an example. Okay, so that just sort of captures intercompany from a high level, and we can touch on a bit more as I go through my slides as well. Okay, so our template needs to have a starting point, and currently that starting point covers these 3 areas. So master data replication, intercompany document sharing, and financial consolidation. So let's touch into each of those. Master data replication, as my example said then, let's say you're loading in a new item code into one of your companies, or you're adding a new business partner. BPA is going to take that data and it's going to pass that data on, disseminate that data throughout your range of companies. Okay, so again, rather than you logging into your company number one and logging in the data, then logging out and logging into company number two, BPA is moving that data throughout your companies for you. Okay. The document sharing, again, as my example a moment ago, maybe you're raising a purchase order within one company, BPA is going to replicate the sales order in the other company. Again, each of these things may only take a few seconds or a few minutes, but over time, the amount of time you save by having BPA manage this flow of data for you becomes very, very significant. Okay, I think if we looked at the reports in the past we've done, if you're saving 2-3 hours a day with BPA very, very quickly pays for its own investment and then gives you greater savings thereafter. So you don't need much saving with a system like this for the investment to be covered in the amount of time and resources you're saving throughout your sort of process and throughout your week. So that covers off intercompany documents sharing, and the last one there, financial consolidation, is the ability to consolidate that data from your companies. Maybe you've got a consolidation company, maybe you're doing it in your HQ, but it's consolidating that data into one place. So when you're buying and you're selling goods throughout those groups of companies, it's making sure that you're removing some of that data. Maybe some of it needs reporting in a certain way. Maybe certain revenues are allocated across those companies down to certain percentages based on the time and effort in the goods sold. So again, all of that control, all of that data is managed by the BPA platform and disseminated throughout the group. Okay, that covers off the sort of template itself. So a quick highlight to give you an idea, and again, it's an example I've already explained. So looking at invoice flow, so this looks at the intercompany document sharing. Okay, so let's say I'm in the finance team now, and I raise a purchase order within the purchasing company. So you can see from the key at the bottom left there, the sort of touch points and the actions. So I, as a human being, as a manual process, I raise that purchase order. BPA is going to raise the sales order within the selling company. Okay. And then whether the delivery note is triggered or the delivery note is then a manual process, once that is triggered or it's manually added, the BPA platform then raises the goods receipt PO on the purchasing side. So just again, this is a high level idea of how the system works. But by raising a document, by doing something within one of the companies, BPA with its processes is then set up to raise the document or move that data within the corresponding companies. And again, the examples on my page is the invoice flow top left, similarly for the invoice and credit flow, and then the returns flow below. So again, I think you get the idea. By you do the initial action, then BPA with its workflows and its controls will then raise the relevant document throughout the process. Okay. So then just touching on financial consolidation, which I already have done, it's the ability to gather all of that data from all of the different companies. It may be that when you purchase and sell products throughout your different companies, data needs to be eliminated. So you're not showing all of the purchases of one product across 5 different companies. It's being eliminated as it needs to. It's adjusting those accounting differences, if there may be any. It's reporting and creating those sort of statements. And it's, again, presenting that data for that group of companies. Again, lots of companies now will sit for hours and they will, as a manual process, push and pull this data into and out of their SAP B1 databases. Again, the idea of this template is it removes all of that heavy lifting for you. Okay. Right. And this just obviously covers off the sort of main benefits. Again, you can have copies of all this, that's absolutely fine, but it's the improved consistency of that data across your companies within your group. The biggest one for me, and it's the one we discuss with all of our customers, whatever they're doing, it's the ability to reduce the time and effort and obviously the costs in doing things. So rather than me coming into the office in the morning, me logging into 2 or 3 systems and me spending a number of hours checking data, moving data into different systems, running reports, setting up alerts, the platform is doing all of that control, all of that monitoring for you. So when I come in and log in and I do my one thing and then go and do something else, the platform picks up what I've done and starts to trigger process and trigger things around the business. Point 3 there, so standardizing those business processes across the organization. It may be that company 1 accounts for their data in a certain way, but the guys and girls that are coming up number 2 don't quite do it the right way. The beauty with this is the BPA platform will have its standardized processes, and those processes would manage the data in the same way across all of those companies. And 4 and 5, obviously the increased visibility of data across the group is always good. It's good to see what data. It may be that the selling company wants to achieve a lower price for some of their customers. For those guys to see what the buying company is buying raw material for, as an example, would give them some understanding of maybe, okay, maybe we can do something else with these goods. Maybe we can manage it in a different way. Again, it's that visibility of data across the group. And of course, collaboration is always good across different companies. Different brands across the group may work in silos. This brings all that data again to one central place. And there's a quick quote there on my slide on the right hand side. Okay, now if I may, excuse me, changing screens, I'm going to jump away from my slides and to come into BPA. I think it's good to see the system. If this now wants to open, there we go. Right, so let me come back a couple of moves here and drop those up and drop those to there. Okay, so I'm now logged into BPA from a virtual machine. So these are the screens that the G3G BPA and SAP consultants will use to manage your integrations for you. It may be that as a company, you like to get your hands dirty, dare I say, as well, and that's absolutely fine. You guys will be the licensee of this software, so please speak to your G3G people and get involved if and as and when you need to. But again, so these are the screens you would use to manage existing integrations and manage new ones. So very, very quickly, left-hand side, you'll see some shortcuts. So that's just user preference on the consultant or the customer using the account at the time, so they can be dropped away. This next section here, so BPA is all about a drag and drop interface. It's a platform of 50, 60 tools. It's all of these tools you link together to move the data through the process, okay? Now, again, within our templates, those processes are pre-built, but as an open platform and an open tool set, the G3G team has full access to make any changes, any modifications, any customizations that you as the customer needs to have with their data. You can have 2 companies. Let's say you have 2 companies managing information coming out of, let's say, Magento e-commerce going into SAP B1. Those 2 companies can have quite different ways of moving and managing that data based on the products that they're managing, the numbers of SKUs they have, the sort of parent-child SKUs. They may be using different currency codes, different exchange rates. So all that configuration would sit within the workflows to make sure when that data is picked up, it's got certain logic. Maybe we are taking 2 data fields and manage them into 1 data field. So all those intricacies, all those customizations is what our tools enable the G3G guys to manage this and deliver these workflows, and therefore deliver that working solution to you as a customer. But I digress, sorry. So again, each of these sections here are the tools. So we have event tools, we have input tools, we have connector tools. If I scroll down my list here, you'll see the SAP B1 toolkit. So you'll see there the DI API and the service layer. So we can connect into those 2 entry points into SAP B1. And we have format tools and output tools. So let me now come away from the tools, if I may, and come down to just to show you a quick demo. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to come into Intercompany. Lots on my screen here. I'm going to come into financial consolidation. I'm going to open that one up there. No, it's already open, actually. That one there and that one there. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to come into SAP B1. So we've simulated me being now a small group of companies. So let's go into choose company. You can see here I have intercompany buyer, intercompany head office, and intercompany seller. So 3 companies in my group. What I'm going to do, I'm going to log into buyer. I'm going to raise a journal entry, and then you can see that trigger and flick across into the head office side. So a simple demo, but just gives you an idea of how the platform works. So I click onto buyer. Obviously, this stuff you guys know better than me, of course, because you guys work with B1 every day. I've saved that now. I'm going to come into financials. I'm going to come down to journal entry. I'm going to come to my last one by clicking that button there. And we have 6713. So I'm going to duplicate that now. So data, duplicate, click OK. I'm going to click add. I'm going to click yes, and we'll see the next one's now jumped up to 1.5. Okay, so it's probably 1.4 that's going to push across. So 6.7.1.4. Now, in the real world, BPA would trigger automatically because BPA is monitoring the opening of these journal entries, or would be in an intercompany scenario. So if I come into BPA now, you would see this fire in the middle, and I'm going to show you a trigger that fires in the moment just so you can see how quickly it happens. But what I'm going to do now, I can also manually run these tasks. So again, BPA gives G3G and gives you as the customer full access to all of these workflows. It's a back office platform that sits there, does everything like a robot would do, but also you can log in and use it if you need to. So I can right click here, I can queue now. You'll see the process trigger in the middle, and at the bottom you'll start to see lots of green ticks where the tools are initializing. Now this would take a number of seconds to run through, so let me push that up now. So what this is doing now, based on the workflows that's been built, and there's probably a couple of workflows being triggered here. Just to say, so obviously I'm logged onto a virtual machine here, so it's a basic machine, so it's not going to be the quickest as it would be in the real world. And again, in the real world, once you raise that journal entry, BPA is going to pick that up and trigger it as an automated process straight away, rather than me manually trigger it. But you'll see lots of egg timers here spinning around, and we get lots of green ticks. So once these are all finished, which shouldn't take a moment or two longer, will tell me that all of those steps have completed. It'll tell me that all the processing has been done. I think like a live demo on a call with lots of people.
Yeah, so basically what is happening here, Martin, is that journal entry that you created is now replicating in the two other databases. It's going to the selling database, and it's going to the headquarter database for the consolidation.
Yes, so for this demo, it's just pushing it across into the consolidation, into head office for now, yes, yeah. So you can see that I've got lots of green ticks. Let me come back out of there, back into B1. Let's drop that screen down. Let's come up here. Excuse me, changing screens back and forth. Back into admin. Choose company. I'm going to log into HQ. That one there. Click OK. Shoot my menu back up there. So back into financials. Come down to journal entry. And if I click last, and there we go. So obviously it's got its own number, 6772, but in the reference boxes here, you'll see it refers to the originating journal entry, which is 6714. Okay, so it's picked up that data and all that data, and it's brought it across the head office as it needs to. Now, again, I appreciate this is just a simple demo, but the idea of this is once you do your initial actions within SAP B1, BPA is then going to trigger those processes afterwards. Okay, obviously I've shown you that from a non-trigger perspective, just to show you how the system triggers as well. If I may, let me come back up here again. Excuse me, changing screens. Let me choose to come back into. Oh, sorry, go into demo. Okay, I'm going to come now down to business partners. Now, very quick, I'm just going to go into business partner master data. I'm going to change some data. I'm going to change a bank account, and you'll see BPA trigger. I think it's good to see that trigger happening as well. So I'm into bank account. I'm into payment run. I'm going to drop down the bank account. I'm going to come into HSBC. I'm going to click update. You'll see the green bar appear. I come into BPA, and there straight away, can you see within seconds, that process is triggered in the middle. And you see the tools initialized at the bottom. So what that is, so BPA is using the trigger tool connected into SAP B1. It's seen a change and it's pushed the process straight through to BPA. So I now come into, and I apologize, my Outlook's running a little bit slow. So I did one this morning because I was a couple of minutes slow. So what that process did there, just to show you, we saw the change. BPA triggered, pushed a process through BPA, which happens to be send me an email to say this account number has had its bank account number changed from HSBC to Barclays, or vice versa. Okay, yeah. So again, very quickly, it shows you how the platform can take a trigger and then do something with it. That do something with it could be send out some comms to one of your customers. Maybe you've changed the credit limit on one of your customer accounts. Maybe you put one of your customers on hold. As soon as that happens, BPA can push out comms to that customer to let them know what's happened, or indeed push those comms back into the business as well. Okay. So that was I want to show just a quick couple of demos there, which just to sort of show you the system working, covers off the intercompany side and also covers off that sort of trigger side. Then back to my slides here. Sorry.
Just on the master data sharing, because it's a template and it's customizable. You can also then get the system to only share certain master data records with certain companies in the group?
Of course, yeah, yes, you could, yes. So all of those controls. So I've not got the slide on this deck here, but when we set BPA up, BPA sits in the middle on its own server. BPA uses a staging database in the middle of the integration. Then you add all your different companies there, and you would add some of those controls into that staging area. So when that data is monitored and needs to be picked up, it's going to disseminate to the right company. So it may be that certain suppliers only go to companies 2 and 3 and not to 4 and 5, as an example. So all of those controls are in there. So yes, exactly, yeah. So quickly look at my slide here. I'm sure you know lots of this stuff, but the benefits of automation are several fold. The biggest one for me is when we talk about all the time is the reduction in costs. Rather than me being sat at a desk, changing data, monitoring data, moving data back and forth, BPA can be used to be that robot for you. BPA can monitor those changes. BPA can monitor your stock levels. BPA can monitor data being changed within SAP B1 and disseminate and move that data around your business. It's going to enable your teams to focus on other things. Maybe they can focus on managing those processes rather than doing them themselves. It's obviously going to reduce the element of human risk. Or the risk of human error. So me keying in data, I might get a currency code incorrect. I might put it in wrong. All of that will have an effect on the business. It improves productivity, of course it does, because you're removing these things away from a human and you're putting it into an automated perspective. It allows you to scale much easier. So my example earlier of moving orders from Magento into SAP B1, you might be using if you're managing, let's say, 100 orders per hour, or you're receiving 100 orders per hour. To have automation in place, if your business scales and starts doing 200 orders an hour, the data side of that is covered. So the scalability is that much simpler. Yes, you'll need more guys in the warehouse to manage those orders being pushed through the dispatch guys and pushed out to transport, but management of that data is that much simpler. Integration. Yes.
And like you mentioned as well, Martin, the control that you have now over master data, because sometimes it does happen when you do go into master data to make a specific change, but by accident they might remove something else in the process and update, and that's a way that you can pick it up a lot quicker than 2 or 3 months down the line when there's a bigger issue with the master data.
Totally. And we heard about a crazy one a few months ago, whereby a disgruntled employee from the finance team on the day left the company, he changed some bank accounts into his own. He was receiving payments coming in from customers. He was receiving those payments because there were no controls around that data. If they had BPA and controlling and managing that, the finance manager would have seen straight away there's been a change to this bank account. It doesn't look right. Then he or she can make some changes. So it gives you those controls. Yes.
Yeah.
And that last picture there at the bottom of my screen with the robot, we talk about it a little bit flippantly, but fundamentally BPA is a robot. It's a back office platform that works 7 days a week. It works 24 hours a day. It doesn't take holidays. So when there's data changes, data movements in your business, BPA is there to pick up and manage that data. Rather than coming in the morning and having a large workload to do, BPA can be managing that data throughout the night, and then when your guys come in, they can be managing the processes or overseeing those processes, again, rather than being bums on seats, sat at screens, moving data back and forth manually. Okay. And then just some quick facts for you. Again, all of these are made available via the recording, or we can send you copies of slides. It's the ability to just save ourselves time during the day, whether we're generating sales leads, approving paperwork. Obviously, I'm reading off the screen here, processing documents, our ability to not need to locate documents all the time. Maybe you're sending out documents from the warehouse that are hazardous, they have to go with certain documents. You can make sure that when a delivery note is printed or a packing note is printed, those documents are printed at the same time. So again, BPA is removing that need for someone else to do it themselves. And there's obviously, as with these sorts of things, there's the saving of time and removing a bottleneck. So BPA is there to pick up those things and manage those things that we normally need to think about. So okay, I'm doing this now. What else do I need to do within this process? And as always, a couple of testimonials. And again, we can send you copies of these just to give you an idea of what some of our customers are saying. So we have a raft of customers using BPA for a wealth of things. So again, it gives you the ability to reduce that time, reduce that effort, and ultimately save you guys time, save you costs, by managing the flow of data, whether it's intercompany or whether it's something else, but it's managing that flow of data back and forth between systems or back to alerts into your business or alerts and comms out to your customers. And that was my last slide. So let me pass back over to Ian.
Yeah, so thanks for that, Martin. So the thing that I've also picked up during this conversation is that BPA is platform agnostic. The templated approach is there to make rollouts a lot quicker, and it just gives us a platform from where we can work and do additional customizations if needed. It's very flexible. It covers the intercompany trading processes that you get with bigger entities, the financial consolidation. It eliminates manual entries and prevents human error. And it's always on, like you mentioned. It doesn't take holiday. It doesn't take leave. It doesn't go anywhere. So it's always on. So it's always there. And from that point of view, we've also seen that automation frees up individuals' hands to go and do something that's a bit more important to the business and get them to get more creative than doing these monotonous data entry tasks. So yeah, so that's also where you get that cost saving as well, because you might be paying someone to do data capturing that can be used a lot better somewhere else in the organization at the end of the day.
Yeah. I also just say, so obviously our template for intercompany covers off those three main areas. Maybe there are additional processes that the customer needs to have built in or have change. BPA is an open platform, like I've said before, an open tool set. So the G3G team have full access to add more processes or change these processes. It may be that our out-of-the-box solution works great for some of the customers, but again, it needs tweaking for others. This is a platform that gives the ability and gives that flexibility to G3G and to the customer. So it's exactly managing your data how you want your data managed.
So if the organization has a super user that's tech savvy, but they also don't need to be that tech savvy because of the ease of use of BPA platform. They can build their own internal tasks as well, or update and amend their own internal tasks as well with the drag and drop functionality that sits inside of BPA.
Yeah, totally. So we see lots of customers that they tend to lean on the partner for building a new integration. But they like themselves the ability to log into BPA to set up a task and maybe set up an alert, do some customer comms, do some certain lookups, run some reports. So the platform, the same way that SAP B1 is licensed to the end customer, BPA is exactly the same. So we sell and supply the software via G3G. G3G to do the initial installation, but again, yes, customer can utilize BPA themselves and get their hands dirty because it's their software. Absolutely fine. Two things that we always say. So yes, it's a drag and drop interface, but as with any new piece of software, there's that learning curve. As long as someone can use SQL data, because we use SQL as that staging environment, and if required, the G3G team can provide some training to the customer, or we can provide some training ourselves. So there's again lots of flexibility to make sure that the solution and the software works for the customer.
You just mentioned installation as well. How long does a typical BPA platform installation take?
Okay, if we look at the software itself, so let's take a real world example. Let's take the intercompany template. Okay, our guys would probably quote 1 or 2 days. Externally, we quote give your customer 3 days to install the software, make the connections to SAP B1, install the template. And obviously, once you've installed it, you need to run through to make sure that it matches your requirements. It has the right mapping each side. So our guys will quote 3 days to install all of that and have a working solution. I'm sure you want to take a number of days thereafter to do UAT testing, because that's always sensible, of course. But installing the software and having it up and running with that full intercompany template, I think from our side, there's 37 pre-built tasks across those 3 different areas. Our guys will quote 3 days.
Okay. And then from a process point of view, can we pick and choose which processes we need, or do we have to license all of them?
So you can pick and choose. Some of them go in groups because There are groups of tasks that trigger other tasks, and I can share that with you after if customers want to see that as well. So across those 3 different areas, some you can pick and choose, some you need to take the sort of batch of. But in theory, the platform is designed for you to be able to pick and choose what you want. But again, there may be smaller groups in there. As an example, I spoke to one customer last week. They don't need the full 37 tasks. I think they're going to go for a 25 task license. So if you need less tasks, yes, you can just add those on if you need to. And again, as a platform under a subscription licensing, it's very easy to add more licenses and add more connectivity as and when required.
Okay, thanks. And the commercial model for BPA platform and intercompany, or what is that?
Yeah, so we talk about a monthly price, but it's an annual license and so it's an annual subscription license and annual billing with initial 2-year commitment. And of course, I'm available anytime. Obviously I support the G3G account. I'm available to speak to anyone at any time, with or without the G3G guys. So anything we've shown you today, any more information you want to hear, if you want to discuss this in more of a technical aspect, I've got teams that sit behind me, as I'm sure Ian at G3G does. So anything you need from us to make this make more sense, if it doesn't make sense now, happy to have those conversations afterwards.
Thank you so much for your time and taking us through the intercompany for BPA and for SAP Business One.
My pleasure.
And then everyone, thank you for attending the webinar today. A recording will be circulated to everyone, and if you require an in-depth consulting session with us, please reach out so that we can organize that for you.